Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with your final hot take of the evening, and it's consider it a Hollywoke hot take from the world of publishing and Vice World News. Penguin Random House staff confront publisher about new Jordan Peterson book. During a tense town hall, staff cried and expressed their dismay with the publishing giant's decision to publish Beyond Order: 12 More Rules for Life. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Jordan Peterson, he's a psychologist from Canada, and he came to prominence because he refused to obey the upcoming law in Canada, which is now law, where it says you can be fined and arrested, imprisoned, if you refuse to use the pronouns of a student. So if you're a professor in college teaching adults, and one of those adults demands to be called by a pronoun, and it could be lots of different pronouns, just not just he, she, they. There's all sorts of pronouns in the LGBT community in Canada. There's a lot of pronouns. If you refuse to do that, you could be fined, you could be arrested, and it's very draconian and stifles free speech. And he took a principled stand against it. He's not a bigot, but everybody called him a bigot because he did that. And he got all sorts of attention, and he stood up. He stood up to the PC police, and he's been getting canceled ever since. Canceled all the way to the bank. 12 Rules for Life. I bought several copies of his book, actually, because I give it away as gifts sometimes. I like his stuff. I've watched just about every lecture he's ever done, plus some of his... he does like Q&As sometimes. He hasn't done them in a while. But here's what one of the employees said. This is how hysterical they are. He's an icon of hate speech and transphobia, according to Vice News. And the fact, or according to the quote that Vice World News printed. And the fact that he's an icon of white supremacy, regardless of the content of the book, I'm not proud to work for a company that publishes him. A junior employee who is a member of the LGBTQ community and who attended the town hall told Vice World News. Oh! First off, he's not an icon of any of that. The far right, they don't like Peterson at all. They've attacked him on numerous occasions, verbally, not physically. Unlike the woke idiots who, protest every time he goes to a speaking event, and they're all just caught up in it. They haven't read his book. They don't know him. The guy cries on camera more times than an actor, and it's real. And he's talked about meeting people who have been helped by his book and how they got reunited with their dad and changed their lives. And he gets overwhelmed and starts crying. I mean, this is a sensitive guy. He's a nice guy. And look, 12 Rules for Life, it's just a bunch of common sense stuff. Clean your room, get your life together, that kind of thing. Start with the little things and move up. I mean, he's a psychologist. He helps people. These woke idiots have decided to turn him into an enemy, and that's that. They refuse to learn any nuance. They refuse to learn anybody else's opinion other than their own. Everybody in the mob thinks he's, a terrible person. Therefore, he is. And therefore, we have to protest. Look how wonderful and virtuous I am. I'm protesting Jordan Peterson. Ooh. But they're cowards, in my view. If you had any guts, you'd just quit. You'd go to your employer and say, hi, I'm a junior employee, and I am very upset about this book. If you decide to publish this, I quit. To which I assume Penguin would say, okay, well, sorry to see you go. We're going to publish the book. And they would have to quit or shut up. I mean, the fact, and they're anonymous in this article because they're afraid of getting fired. Afraid of a company that had a town hall so you could cry, literally cry in the town hall, talk about how triggered you were. Oh, but you're worried about those people firing you? They're not going to fire you. They're coddling you. I'd fire you. Oh, yeah, I'd fire you. If I could, assuming the wacky laws in Canada would even allow me to. But you know, here's how I would handle it. I would call you into the office one at a time. I wouldn't want to embarrass anybody. I'd say, hey, I understand you have a problem with this book, and they'd be like, yeah, it's triggering, blah blah blah. Okay, look, I don't know why that's triggering you. That's not my thing to say. But we publish books here. We publish books for money. I don't think the guy's hateful. If you can show me hate speech in the book, or show me some sort of hateful thing he's ever said, maybe we'd consider it. Otherwise, maybe get yourself some therapy, and if you can't deal with it, well, maybe you got to work someplace else. Simple as that. If you think this guy is hate speech and we're publishing hate speech, well, I think you're being incredibly hyperbolic, and you should probably find employment elsewhere. Maybe get with a smaller publisher. You'll make less money, but maybe you'll feel better about the product. Oh, less money? I don't know about that. Yeah, put it in perspective for them. Because it's about money. It's about money. So yeah. Oh, and here's another great quote from one of the brave anonymous employees. The company since June has been doing all these anti-racist and allyship things, and then publishing Peterson's book so completely goes against this. It just makes all their previous efforts seem completely performative, the employee said. Yes it is. They're doing it because they thought those books would sell. To woke morons like yourself, no doubt. I mean, you're not brave for being anonymous. And they got like 70 anonymous messages about Peterson's book and their feedback or online help or whatever. Oh, they're all afraid to get fired. I mean, these people don't fire anybody. They're coddling you to a ridiculous degree. Okay? So what is complaining about the book they've decided to publish going to do? Now, it'd be different if you could find some passages in the book that were, well, this is hateful, or this isn't right, or this, I've got this video of Jordan Peterson doing something terrible. Here it is. You don't have any of that. You're just triggered. You have different views, and that's fine. Have your different views. You can hate Peterson all you want, but you work for the publisher. Decide if you want to work for them, because that's what it is. It just publishes books. It doesn't really care what's in the books as long as it's, well, legal. That's what it is. They publish books. And to coddle you, I think, is ridiculous. I think that's a waste of company money. If I ran the company, I'd be like, stop, what are you doing in this town hall? I don't ever have one of them again. Have meetings. Don't have town halls. Tell the employees what to do. They don't get to tell you what to do. Can they make suggestions? Sure, about specific things that they're working on. Not the direction of the company or one of our big clients that are going to make us millions of dollars. Tell them to shut up or go work somewhere else. It's as simple as that. I mean, really? Really? So this is the sequel to his best-selling book. It's going to be a huge, huge hit, I assume. When these people say far right, what they really mean is people on the right side of politics like him. And they mentioned Joe Rogan in the article, like they're smearing him. I, for one, will be checking out the book. I can't wait till it comes out. I want to see the next 12 rules. I, use some of his advice in my own life. Just clean up your room, get your life in order, that kind of stuff. It's common sense stuff. It helps. Maybe the people who are so triggered and maybe they should read this book. Maybe it would help them. He is a psychologist. He's, not falling apart at the seams because someone said something that they disagreed with. Suck it up.